A narcissist's favorite way to manipulate is to only acknowledge your reactions to a scenario, rather than their actions that cause the scenario to happen in the first place.
Did you know that narcissistic abuse actually causes brain damage in the victims? Let me explain it to you here. When you're with a narcissist, they stress you out. Duh, that's a given. The stress hormone in your body is called cortisol. Your cortisol level in your body over time raises to such an astronomical level that if it was spread over to 2 to 3 people, it would still be considered high for those 3 people, but it's all within you. That high cortisol level is going to actually cause your hippocampus to shrink. Your hippocampus is the part of your brain that's in charge of your short-term memory and your decision making. It's also going to swell your amygdala, which is in charge of your primal emotions. You know, the fears, the anxieties, the guilt, the lust, the shame, all of that. It's going to swell it up, so it's going to make it hyperactive. So you're going to be in a constant state of survival mode. This is what's anatomically happening biologically in your brain. You're not crazy.
All right, welcome to How to Argue Like a Narcissist.
I'm sorry, what?
All right, remember we have one goal in this class. Who remembers what it is?
Gaslight them into feeling like the crazy one. Empathy?
Avoid accountability.
Right. I might be in the wrong class.
You are the victim. Never forget that.
Why not just take responsibility for the way our words and actions impacted them?
Oh, because while our egos are huge, they're also extremely fragile. See, we've built a fantasy world in which we're perfect and entitled to praise and admiration.
We can't make a mistake. That would collapse the entire system. Yikes.
All right, first question. Someone comes to you vulnerably and says that you did something that hurt their feelings. What do you do?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's not seek to understand their perspective.
Never.
Saying nothing I do will ever be good enough for you.
Bingo! I would have also accepted you do the same thing to me, or I thought love doesn't keep score. You could also just shame spiral, and then they feel bad for bringing it up and end up apologizing to you.
Call me crazy, but this sounds like textbook control and manipulation.
Finally, you said something right for once. Remember, you are allowed to fake empathy.
Fake empathy, that's really good.
You are allowed to fake accountability and say that you'll change, as long as you just never follow through.
But won't that person just catch on?
Well, hopefully by now you've formed a trauma bond with this person, so the intermittent love bombing paired with gaslighting should keep them feeling confused that they are actually the problem. All right, next week we're going to talk about how to fake an apology without actually saying the words, "I'm sorry."
One of the most evil things the narcissist does is not their ability to lie, gaslight, manipulate, scream, stonewall, silent treatment, none of that. One of the most evil things that the narcissist does to their victim is when they flip from hot and cold. And a lot of you think, oh, there are so much more worse things they do. The psychological mind games that the narcissist plays with their victim, which is flipping from hot to cold, is, to me, the most evil thing. And here is why. By leaving you in a state of confusion, giving you all of the love that you've ever wanted and pleaded for, and then taking it back and then being the worst human to you, it gets you stuck in a state where it's almost like you become a addict, right? You start to crave this high from this person. So even when the lows are low, which is low, they're demonic. Like when they're evil, when they do the most grimy thing, you're looking forward to that high that only them can give to you. And the narcissist knows this, and they count on this. And because you're so stuck and addicted, they know you're not just going to get up and walk away. Because again, it's almost like the narcissist is the one who creates the injury, but they're the only one who can heal it. Especially when you're stuck in that cycle of trauma bond, when you're stuck in that revolving door with them, when you're stuck in the roller coaster of emotions with them. In those moments, they are the only ones who can make you happy, even though they're the only ones who are creating the sadness that you have. I don't know if that makes sense, but this is, to me, more demonic because it keeps you in a state where you're not able to move on. Let's say if the narcissist was not the coward that they are, let's say they are evil, right? They abuse you. They did something really grimy to you. And you're like, okay, that was really messed up. They don't want to own up to it. And you said, okay, that was messed up. I want an apology. They say they're not apologizing, and you're like, okay, bet, I'm out. I'm leaving. That's not the case with the narcissist. They breadcrumb you. They confuse you. They'll put you up on this pedestal, and then they'll yank the thing off of, up from under you. And you're in this constant confused state where you're literally saying in your head, he loves me not. He loves me. When he's evil, you think, oh, he doesn't love me. And why doesn't he love me? I want him to love me. I need to do everything in my power to make him see that I'm worthy of his love. So you're fighting. You're literally fighting for your life. And when they do love you, you trick yourself into thinking that you deserve the love, that it's worth it, and it's worth the pain and things like that. This is all a mind F game that the narcissist plays to keep their victims stuck. This to me is worse than any kind of gaslighting, because all of those things are they're symptoms of being with a narcissist. The lying, the cheating, the blah, blah, blah. But set me free. Like, let me go. If you're going to do this and not change and not become a good person, let me go. But no, they want to keep you there. It's almost like you're being imprisoned, but you're agreeing with this. Like you're being a prisoner, but you're allowing the prison to happen. Even though you're not, technically you're not, but that's the kind of hook they have on you. That trauma bond is so strong, and it's really, really hard to break. And for those of you who finally do get out, when you finally get out, you're going to feel so stupid, and you're going to be so hard on yourself, because the whole time you could have just left. The whole time you could have stopped it at any time. But when you're stuck in that cycle with them, you literally feel like your world is going to end if you and this person are not together anymore. And that couldn't be further from the truth. People leave these people and find the love of their lives. They live better lifestyles. They become healthier, prettier, more successful. These people, all they do is ruin your life in every single way possible. They make you ugly. They make you age. They make you look stressed out. They hold you back. They stunt your growth, because your whole life when you're with them is revolved around making them happy, walking on eggshells, making sure you don't do anything that's going to piss them off so they go into another narcissistic rage, making them feel as important as they want to feel. It's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. But let me know if you agree with me down below. I think all of the other things that they do is evil. Don't get me wrong. But one of the most evil things is when they really, really get you in that cycle where you literally feel like you can't get up and go, because they are your life, your whole life. Anyway, follow for more. You can also book a one-on-one call with me. The link is in my bio. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Leave the first time. Leave the first time he cheats. Leave the first time he's cruel. Leave the first time he's abusive. Leave the first time he's financially controlling. Leave the first time he's controlling, period. If you have kids and you can't leave, save your money and escape.
So I've been doing a lot of research about narcissistic personality disorder, and I've just been going down this rabbit hole, and I came across this therapist who has been talking about the dark thoughts of narcissists that they have about their victims. And so he says that if you could read their minds, you would run away screaming. Their thoughts are absolutely chilling. And he says that after studying narcissistic personality disorder and the psychology extensively, their internal monologues are pure psychological horror. They aren't random cruel thoughts, but they're systematic predatory planning. So number one, how pathetic are you for loving me? While you, their partner, is showing affection, the narcissist feels superior to your vulnerability. They mock your emotional investment. Internally, they see your love as a weakness to exploit, and they feel contempt for your devotion. Your love disgusts them. And that one, in some ways, makes sense to me, because it's like they hate themselves so much and they have so much shame that it would be extremely easy to hate the person that does love them, because it's like, I hate myself, and so I'm disgusted by the fact that you don't hate me. It's weird, but wildly it does make sense. Number two, what else can I take from them? They are constantly calculating how much money do you have access to as their partner, what connections can you provide them, how can they use your resources, and what haven't you given them yet. To them, you are not their partner, you are a personal ATM. Dark thought number three, they deserve everything that I do to them, which is, I think, more of a common one that people are aware of. They justify their cruelty by thinking you are way too sensitive. that you asked for this treatment, you made them do it, and you are lucky that they tolerate you. They feel entitled to abuse you. Thought number 4, I wonder how far I can push them before they break. They actively experiment with how much abuse you'll tolerate, what are your triggers and your biggest reactions, how to make you feel worthless, and ways to isolate you further. Your breaking point is, in fact, their entertainment. Okay, dark thought number 5. Everyone would side with me if they knew the truth. They believe, the narcissist that is, they're the real victim here and that you're the problem in their relationship and people would feel sorry for them. They can easily turn others against you. They're always planning your character assassination, which of course makes the most sense that during the discard phase, at the end of the relationship, they go on this smear campaign and lie and tell everyone that you were the problem. And they were doing that even before you all broke up. They were basically probing and grooming people so that they could do that at the end, because this is a cycle with them. So they know from the moment they meet you that the relationship eventually will come to an end. Do they know when? No, but they know that it eventually will happen. And so they are always plotting and planning. My point in reading this is I don't think that a lot of people realize that as much as dealing with a narcissist really hurts, you have to look at things from a bigger picture. You were the person at the time that they were abusing and all, but this is really a cycle and it's almost not personal because they would literally do this to anyone. Literally anyone. They'll do it to their children. They'll do it to their family, their mother, their father, you obviously as their partner. And so I hope that this will give you some sort of closure because you know they're not going to give it to you. Just, make it a little bit easier to help you to heal and to move on and to close that chapter of your life for good. These people are truly mentally ill. And it's really unfortunate because this is probably one of the few mental illnesses where the person does not know that they are mentally ill. Therefore, it would be extremely hard to get help for said illness that you are unaware of. This is somebody that you cannot get away from outside of like a partner. And even if you're married to them, divorce. I believe 100% in divorce. This is spiritual warfare. Literally spiritual warfare. And if you don't want to give up on this narcissist, I recommend extensive fasting and praying away this demonic entity. Because it really is something not of them. But they have chosen. They've made, my narc told me literally he was making the decision to cross over to the dark side. They're conscious that their choices are not good ones. But I don't think that they can even, they act on impulse. So none of it is predictable. Everything is about self-gratification and they're constantly chasing that. Literally moment by moment, hour by hour, day by day. So I don't even think that they're really aware or plan things out. It just sort of they take life as it comes. So with that being said, it is above you. It is above me. Give it to God. And you just got to move on with your life. God bless y'all.
A narcissist expects everything to go back to normal as if their actions left no scars. And then they make you feel guilty for reacting to the pain they caused instead of taking responsibility for their own actions. They will twist the truth to make you question your worth because they don't want you to know your value. Because once you do, they know they'll lose all control.
Especially manipulative narcissists, aka covert narcissists, will use really specific language and communication techniques to try to take control of your brain. I wanted to share some specific examples and how they worked on me. And if you're not familiar with the story, I survived a violent home invasion in 2018 at the hands of an armed stalker who I fought in hand-to-hand combat and won. Several months later, experienced a narcissistic discard from an up-and-down roller coaster relationship that I had been in for about 5 years. So I know what it's like to experience a narcissistic discard when you're at your worst and need help the most. These things can be really, really tricky to spot. We've been hearing about this a lot in the news lately because Brianna LaPaglia came out and talked about Zach Bryan love bombing. He, to me, sounds like a narcissist. There are a lot of really great narcissist creators and experts on here, but I'm just going to speak a little bit from my experience. So first one is laugh at you. Someone that you love, hopefully you're laughing a ton with. But someone that laughs at you is purposely trying to demean you in the social hierarchy, make you question the validity and the value of the things that you're saying. My ex would constantly make me the butt of the joke. He was very entertaining, very gregarious, very funny. And I was always kind of the scapegoat or the target, especially when we were in groups. And at first it bothered me, and then I got used to it. And I realized looking back that he was grooming the group by doing that and making them doubt that I was credible and position me low in the hierarchy. Because if I'm able to be laughed at, if everyone's laughing at me and I'm accepting it, then I'm not claiming my space, I'm not claiming my power, I'm not claiming my value. Next is putting you on the defensive when they're caught in something. And my favorite reversal of roles is asking you to make a list or asking you to prove something. Let's say you didn't show up for me on this day when I really needed you. They say, I always show up for you, or I never don't show up for you. Name another time that this ever happened. So then you're put in the position to have to prove yourself. While you're thinking of a list, they're pointing at you saying, see, see, see. Really, the making of a list is an arbitrary exercise because you just confronted them with something that hurt you. And really, it's just for them to feel like they took the power back in the conversation and that they're steering the course of the conversation again. Their example is answering your questions with a challenge. Like, let's say you say you didn't show up for me yesterday in the way I needed you to. They say, well, you always don't show up for me, so just trying to take the power back and also just emotionally immature. So this one for me is the grossest and definitely something that my ex did. So they will feign concern or propose some sort of medical intervention on you. My ex in our relationship diagnosed me with depression, severe social anxiety, and he would bring them up when he didn't want me to come to something. He would also say it to all of our friends at parties and stuff, like, oh, Lee doesn't want to be here, has social anxiety, she doesn't like being around people. I like being around people. And it strained a lot of the relationships. Most of my friends at that time were friends that were extensions of his friend group. So they had this very specific picture painted of me that I was not really wanting to spend time with them, didn't want to be there, and maybe didn't like them. And this was constantly brought up. It just created distance in those relationships that we could never get really close. Because as soon as we would start to get close, he would go in there and start to say things to either me or to them to start to drive us apart. When I started to experience real shit from PTSD and was actually experiencing like severe cases of a lot of these things, seeds had already been planted with this friend group, which is why I don't totally fault them on that. He had been working that muscle for a long time to kind of softly keep me controlled and keep the group controlled. And then, of course, when the attack happened and I was experiencing crazy symptoms, they started to see me acting out and they started to say to themselves, I guess maybe she was always this way. And then after he had them on that, he took it to the next level, escalated the narrative to that he was the real victim in all of this, that I was an abuser, that he needed support and care more than I did. Or they can simply diagnose you as being overly emotional or forgetful, because both of those things down the line can be used to discredit you. Next, making your grievances a problem for you to solve, not them. You're overly emotional. AKA you always take things so seriously. AKA why can't we just have fun? One that I mentioned in another video, which is always answering questions with a question to keep you off balance. Exhaust you so that you don't continue to try to get the answer that you're looking for. Ex would do this all the time, all day, in every conversation. Asking a question, him saying what? Me asking a question, him saying what? Me asking the question again a different way, him saying why? You know, it was just constantly back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It exhausted me, and so it got me to a point where I wouldn't ask him questions when I knew he would respond that way, which was all the time. The last one, and I think the most important one, is refusing to accept a boundary when you've set it. They try to set a boundary for yourself, and they might beg, they might cry, they might get angry, or they might just say, okay, and then not honor it. X started just saying okay after he had several bouts of begging and crying. Started to just say okay when I would try to set a boundary, but then would act hurt when I tried to enforce it. If I were to say I need space, he would say okay, and then the next day he would say it's like you never want to hang out with me anymore. Or if I said I wanted to break up, he would say okay, and then the next day he would say it's like you don't even love me anymore. I broke up with my ex or asked for space multiple times throughout our relationship, but the narrative was always that I was pushing him away. He was the sweet little puppy dog. He loved me so much. How could I hurt him so badly? However, why isn't he respecting the boundary that Lee's trying to set? While we were broken up, put together an elaborate proposal in Malibu, out in the woods, like built something out in the woods. We never got to see it because I realized what was happening and I said no, wanted to go, and got mad because we were broken up, and we had been for a couple months. This was one of our ups and downs. When the story was told to all of our friends, what came back to me was, he proposed. That's so sweet. Why did you reject him? He's so heartbroken. Instead of, you were broken up. Why did he propose to you. So just know that narcissists purposely wade into the gray areas, especially ones that are really good, aka covert. See one of these, maybe it's not that bad. If you see a pattern of them, it probably is.
Y'all, one thing about being in a relationship with a narcissist is that you're going to find yourself trying to have the same conversation with them about the same shit over and over and over and over and over throughout the whole relationship. And here's why. They did something to hurt you. You tried to bring it to their attention and express your feelings about how they hurt you. They got upset at you for bringing it up and then shifted the blame back to you and made it seem like you were doing something wrong by bringing up how they hurt you. They talk in circles and you end up apologizing for bringing it up and feeling like you've done something wrong and then consoling them for feeling bad because they hurt you. But because all the blame got shifted to you, they never actually took accountability for what they did to hurt you. So you never got over it, and then you brought it up again, and then they accused you of living in the past and getting upset at you for bringing it up again just like they did last time. Or they took fake accountability by pretending to be sorry but didn't actually change their behavior, which led you to bring it up again, and then they pretended to be sorry again and then didn't change their behavior again, and the cycle repeats over and over and over. Don't let them make you feel like you're the one in the wrong for still bringing something up that they never took accountability for and are likely still actively doing to you.